Hello, Husker Nation. It is I, Nathan, the Angry Husker, and I'm here to give you my take. And the national championship game has been played a couple days ago, so I'm late with my take here. But Ohio State, in a dominating performance over Oregon, proves once and for all, without a doubt, that they are the #1 team in the nation after going back-to-back weeks, dominating Wisconsin, beating Alabama in a pretty impressive fashion, and then dominating Oregon for the national championship game. Now, Ohio State's performance was truly impressive, and things looked like they were going to get out of hand when Oregon drove down the field in their opening drive to score a touchdown. But after that, the first half for Oregon was absolutely abysmal. They couldn't do anything against that Ohio State defense. And after their second drive, because they started to drive pretty well in the second drive of the game, but after that, nothing going for Oregon at all on offense. It was almost embarrassing to watch this vaunted Oregon offense just getting manhandled by OSU. And OSU's ability to run the football was the real difference in this game. It was absolutely amazing performance. I'm happy for all the OSU fans out there. Shout out to my buddy over in Cleveland, Evan Cribben. I know he's jacked up about this. Big OSU fan. Congratulations to your team. And it just caps off what's been an amazing bowl season for the Big Ten. Things are looking good for the Big Ten now. A lot of high-profile wins, with Wisconsin beating Auburn, Michigan State beating Baylor, and then Ohio State coming out, beating both Alabama and Oregon. I'm not saying that the Big Ten is the best conference of the season. That honor probably goes to the Pac-12, even with losing the national championship game. But the Big Ten has had an amazing bowl season. It's just been incredible. Even Nebraska, which lost its bowl game to USC, lost it in a very close game. People thought that game wasn't going to be very close, but it was. It was incredibly close. You saw my take on that game in an earlier video. The Big Ten did very well for itself, and I'm looking forward to the future of this conference. Ohio State is obviously bringing back a lot of talent, and Urban Meyer is always going to have Ohio State at the forefront of the Big Ten Conference. Michigan State is powerful as ever with Connor Cook returning as quarterback. Michigan now has their Michigan man in Jim Harbaugh, who has succeeded at every place he's gone so far. Nebraska has a new head coach, and he's already making waves in recruiting. And Wisconsin, they have their Wisconsin man. They finally have their coach that's not going to run out of them. So, and I forgot Penn State. With Penn State now having their full scholarships returned to them, might we see a return of Penn State to prominence? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how this next season plays out, and if these Big Ten teams can build on what they've been doing. Can Nebraska make it to the next level? Will Wisconsin maintain its current level of success? What about Michigan? How fast are they going to rise to power under Jim Harbaugh? Is Urban Meyer going to be able to hold off Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State for dominance over their division? We shall see. I'm excited. Y'all should be excited. This is going to be a fantastic season in 2015 for the Big Ten. Now to some news that from Ohio State we heard today. Cardale Jones, the quarterback that led Ohio State to victories over Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon, has decided to stay at Ohio State. Was this a good decision for him? You know, I've kind of flipped back and forth on what I think of the decision, whether or not he should stay or he should go. To me, when it comes to quarterbacks coming out of college, it always comes down to me, it's economics. It's supply and demand. Right now, there's a huge demand for quarterbacks in the NFL. Tampa needs a quarterback. Jacksonville, Miami are going to need quarterbacks. Cleveland and Denver are probably going to need quarterbacks after this next season, so it would behoove them to pick someone up. Denver more so than Cleveland, because Cleveland, this would be their second first-round pick taking a quarterback. In Denver, they're going to lose Peyton Manning after next season, if he comes back at all. So they're going to need one. There's a lot of teams that are going to need quarterbacks. And there's only two real quarterbacks coming out of the of college ranks this season. That's Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. So there's a huge demand in a very short supply. So so quarterbacks are going to come at a high price this year. That's why I think it was the right decision for both those quarterbacks to leave their respective universities and enter the draft, because they're both guaranteed to go top 5, top 10 at the very least. Their stock cannot get any higher than it is. But for Cardale Jones, it's kind of a doomed if you do, doomed if you don't kind of deal, because he's only started 3 games. Is that really enough for NFL teams to judge his talent, whether or not he can play at the next level? I mean, 3 amazing games against 3 very tough opponents, but still 3 games. All right, it's not exactly a wealth of tape on him. There's not exactly a lot of information on whether this guy can succeed at the next level or not. So staying in college could very well help his cause, but only if he actually manages to win the starting job. Now, there were 2 other quarterbacks there that were starting ahead of him this year. One might be gone before the next season starts, but certainly not both of them. I wouldn't think at least. At least one other quarterback is going to be there to challenge him. What if he wins? What if T.J. Barrett wins? What if he wins the starting job over there at Ohio State? That would leave Cardale Jones sitting on the bench for an entire season, watching his draft stock, diminish considerably. This isn't outside of the realm of possibility either. He started the entire season. I'm talking about JT Barrett. He started the entire year until he got injured. You would think that Urban Meyer had a reason for starting him. Had a reason for making TJ Barrett the starting quarterback over mine's drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But there's a reason Cardale Jones. There's a reason he was starting. So, unless there's some kind of guarantee that Cardale Jones is going to be starting next season, then this is a very, very risky move. Because if he sits for the entire year, I mean, and next year, if he starts next year for Ohio State, he'll get a whole season to prove himself. And I don't see the supply of quarterbacks going to the NFL next year as being so much better than what we have this year. So he could very well go next year as a top 5 pick if he has a good season next year. But that's if he actually starts next year. It's a big risk on his part. We'll have to wait and see how it works out for him. I wish him the best of luck, obviously. He wants to come back to OSU. And if that's what he wants to do, then that's what he should do. But it's just a risky move on his part. Alright, that's it for me. Again, awesome job, Ohio State. A fantastic game. I stayed up as late as I could to watch it. I think I went to bed with like 5 minutes left in the game, but you can't blame me when you gotta wake up at 4:15 in the morning. You can't stay up till 11 watching a football game. Anyway, this is Nathan. This has been my take. You all have a good one. See you later.